Surprise! Yes, hello and welcome to the debut of Who Thought Series 2, otherwise known as Episode 9 of Who Thought. Yep, in a start turnaround event, I've decided to now make Who Thoughts on Tuesdays and leave the Sunday broadcasts until when I'm on during school weeks during school weeks. So, instead of doing the Pyramids of Mars review, which will be next Tuesday, this week, to debut Who Thoughts Series 2, I'm going to touch into a subject matter simply known as, which can be summed up with one question. What's with all the McCoy hate? So, as we all know, after Trial of the Time Lord, Colin Baker was unceremoniously sacked from the role of Doctor Who. So basically, it's the apprenticing of Colin, you're fired. But they wanted to come back and do a regeneration. Colin, we want you to come back to do a regeneration scene at the end of the first episode of the new series. Well, the first part of the first story of the new series. And Colin's like, well, yeah, okay, but how about if I do the whole season and then go? And basically like, no, I think we'll just want you to regenerate the end of the first part of the first story. It's like, and then be like, what? Maybe give me the whole first story and then I'll go. It's like, oh no, our offer still stands. And basically Colin says, well, you know what you can do? You can go and get stuffed. Yeah. And he still talks positively about his time on the show, and I think he is forgiving now. Although back in, 86, 87, I'm pretty sure that he wasn't instantly forgiving of a certain Mr. M. Grade and a Mr. J. Powell. I hate those men. Moving on. So, JNT is told, find a new doctor. And the man they come up for with the job is Sylvester McCoy, through a lengthy audition process, where I think he did a reading with Janet Fielding, because presumably Bonnie Langford was unavailable, and I believe he got the job of the doctor because of his hat. Let me grab the McCoy DVD. Just give me a moment. Sweet moment, just here. Because of this hat. Yep. And he also, and season 24 as a whole, with the exception of Delta and the Bannermen, isn't really considered Doctor Who's finest hour. And I say with the exception of Delta and the Bannermen because Delta and the Bannermen is a brilliant story. Anybody who says it's rubbish is wrong. I'm sorry. It's one of my favourite Doctor Who stories, and it's one of my two favourite McCoy stories. The other being Battlefield, by the way. Although the problem with season 24 as a whole is it's a very much a comedic season. It's more light-hearted, and I don't know if this was due to the early characterization of the Seventh Doctor or the writing. I think probably more to do with the writing. I mean, that season started off, right, with probably one of the worst stories ever, Time in the Rani, and ended with what I hear is actually Dragonfire, which I hear is actually a pretty good story. I actually picked that up in the Ace Adventures box set sometime, with the Hammies Patrol, of course. So, it's not necessarily the fact that you can blame McCoy for this. I mean, he did bring in his own little costume ideas, like the question mark umbrella, which was more subtle enough than that stupid jumper. What's the point of that question mark jumper? Okay, we already had a problem with the question marks on the lapels of the shirt, and they had to put it on a jumper? What the hell, BBC costume department? Anyway, then of course we got into the more darker turns of season 25, with Remembrance of the Daleks, Happiness Patrol, Sylvanus, and Greatest Show in the Galaxy. And then of course continuing to season 26. And then of course Doctor Who got cancelled. And some people, to this day, still blame McCoy for the original series getting cancelled and why it didn't continue into 1990. It's not his fault, okay? It was just politics, scheduling. It was scheduled against Coronation Street. Season 24 on Monday night opposite the Monday visit to Coronation Street. And then Wednesday nights for season 25 and 26 again opposite Coronation Street. Doctor Who had no hope. So don't blame Sylvester McCoy. I think Sylvester McCoy did the best that he could with the character. He wanted his Doctor to be a dark Doctor, a mysterious Doctor. Sort of akin back to the Hartnell era when the Doctor was mysterious. And that actually would have been cool. I mean, we haven't really had a dark enough Doctor since Hartnell, and then of course when Eccleston came. Okay, and the recent series and the new Big Finish audio plays where Paul McGann Doctor is now dark as well. But that's not the point. I'm not here to talk about Hartnell, McGann, or Eccleston. I'm here to talk about McCoy and the hate shown towards his Doctor. A lot of people, fans, from what I've been reading in Doctor Who magazine from back in 2010, still consider him one of their favourite Doctors. And at least most of his stories of the 12 that he did are still considered some of the best stories in the history of Doctor Who. Take, say for example, Battlefield. Okay, it started out at 3 million viewers, but still improved as the story went on. And it was increasingly dark. It was epic. And then you had the likes of Ghostlight, The Curse of Fenric, Survival. In fact, the whole of season 26 is regarded as as one of the greatest seasons of Doctor Who since the Hinchcliffe Holmes era of the mid-70s. Why do people hate McCoy? Was it because of his comedic attitude? Was it because the stories were crap? Was it because production? Was it because of writing? Was it because of the scheduling? Was it because of the title sequence and the theme music? Okay, I'll go down record and say I hate the McCoy theme version of the theme tune. The title sequence is grand enough, okay, except for those asteroids. But the theme music is also rubbish. I mean, it doesn't start off with the old do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And this is part of my why people hate McCoy rant, by the way, in case you think I'm going off topic. But it just goes into from the off. Why? And then you go into really his behaviour, like I've said, his behaviour. Okay, admittedly, in season 24, he does start off as a bit of a clown. But when his era progressed, he became more dark. I think, okay, he's my second least favourite Doctor, I understand. But that doesn't mean to say he's rubbish. He's actually a good Doctor. But he's still my second least favourite Doctor. Just ahead of Colin Baker. Yeah, Colin Baker's my least favourite Doctor, I'm sorry. He's too violent, his costume was crap, and a lot of his stories were crap. End of. Anyway, back to McCoy. People, you should start to learn to love McCoy. Okay? His character, as he progresses, becomes a totally different character to what we knew about McCoy when he's 7th Doctor, when he started out in the show. And yet you're still perceiving him as this clown that basically always tries to get himself into trouble. I mean, he has this great these nice moments in some of these episodes. Say like take Battlefield for example, where he's just staring down at his opponents. It's like, oh, I'm the Doctor, and you're not going to win. And of course, he has a Scottish accent, a full Scottish accent. It's not the David Tennant thing where he has, oh, I'm David Tennant, I'm Scottish accent, and he has to hide it under his British accent. He actually was allowed to portray his Scottish accent, and that is cool. I mean, okay, especially talking like this. Oh, I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey and the constellation of Castor's, and all that sort of rubbish. But his Doctor starts to become likeable, And getting back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about McCoy being the cause of the show's cancellation. That's rubbish. I'm sorry. I don't know what planet you people are on when you say, oh, McCoy is the worst Doctor ever because he was the reason that the show got cancelled. That's not the reason. Like I said, there was scheduling. I mean, there was one reason. I was watching this documentary on YouTube, which was on the Survival DVD, about why Doctor Who was cancelled. And Ben Aronovich, who wrote 2 stories, Remembrance of the Daleks and Battlefield, said it was because there were people working in the BBC who didn't like sci-fi. That's also rubbish. I go with Andrew Cartmell's reason as they killed him through scheduling, which they did. They knew, the BBC knew, Coronation Street was a big hit at the time, and this was still at a point when EastEnders was still finding its feet, and now EastEnders was like pretty much #1 rated show of the week, every week. And Coronation Street was, at that time, a monster of a hit and a success on British television. So by removing it out of its Saturday night slot, which wasn't the first time they did it, by the way, although, because it was during the Davison era as well, although that wasn't really during when they scheduled up against Coronation Street. Thank heavens, otherwise the Years of Series would have ended there and then with Davison. And to be honest, we wouldn't really want that to happen. But they knew. Oh, excuse me. Oh. They knew by taking it off the Saturday night slot and placed it into Monday nights, straight after Wogan, like a new Monday night lineup. Basically saying, oh, let's see, what can we... And I think the BBC, the head honcho of the BBC, and the controller of BBC One at the time, the aforementioned, the latterly mentioned Mr. J. Powell, because the aforementioned Mr. M. Grade buggered off to Channel 4. He was like, let's see, what can we kill off by making it die in the ratings war against Coronation Street? I know, Doctor Who, because I hate Doctor Who. He hates Doctor Who. Okay. So there were 2 people who didn't like Doctor Who, M. Grade and J. Powell. But that was it, not the whole BBC system. I mean, and some people also consider JNT a cause of the show's cancellation. It wasn't his fault either. Okay, so he liked spending more time with the fans than actually producing his show. But JNT wanted to leave, and the BBC wouldn't let him. The BBC are solely responsible for the reasons why the original Doctor Who was cancelled in 1989, and it had nothing to do with Sylvester McCoy. His Doctor was good, and all this McCoy hate, it's unfair to him, there was this great comment which was in the promo for DWM 425, where he actually says, bad stuff hurts. You have to have a very thick skin. Anyone who says he's the worst Doctor Who, it's the stupidity of these actors listening to these people. Yeah. But there again, they are Doctor Who fans. They like to voice their opinions. But their opinions are rubbish. Okay? I mean, I'm a Doctor Who fan myself. I've been a Doctor Who fan since the show came back in 2005, and I first saw my first McCoy story, which coincidentally was Battlefield, in 2005. And I liked his Doctor. His Doctor was good. You know? Anyone who says he's the worst Doctor Who, it's wrong. He's not the worst. There is never a worse Doctor Who. They are all good Doctor Who's. Okay, a lot of the other ones, Peter Cushing, Richard Turnbull, Mike Jason, and the John Hurt Doctor, obviously don't count. But he's not the worst Doctor Who. You know? He's a great Doctor Who. So Doctor Who, who means the world. Stop all the hate on McCoy. Actually, I'll make it. Actually, sit through one of his stories. At least one. It doesn't matter which. Okay, just don't go for the first half of season 24. Go from the second half of season 24 and work all your way across. You'll be amazingly surprised. You know, his stuff is actually pretty good. You know? Like, the McCoy hate is just nothing. You know, he tried his best with the portrayal of the character. He was promised a season where everything, his Doctor as a whole, would be wrapped up. But the BBC just said, no, sorry, we're cancelling it, bye. I mean, can you imagine how peeved McCoy was when he learned that the show wasn't coming back for 1990? I mean, basically, like I said, and I'm repeating myself, but, you know, I like to repeat myself to get everything emphasised. In the ratings war, on Monday night on a Wednesday, in 1987, and Wednesday night in 1988 and 1989, in the 7:30 slot, Coronation Street versus Doctor Who. The winner would always be Coronation Street. It got slammed. The Doctor got slammed left, right, and centre by Coronation Street for the whole Sylvester McCoy period. Ratings killed Doctor Who, the original Doctor Who, not McCoy. So get all the McCoy hate out of your mind. Look at the true facts. Okay? McCoy was the last chance saloon. And Powell still didn't like it. The head honchos up in the 6th floor of the BBC didn't like it. I mean, okay, fans didn't take a shine to him. A lot of fans didn't, a lot of fans did. I think he's a good Doctor, so stop with all the McCoy hate. You know? It's just downright depressing. You know? Actors shouldn't have to listen to this stuff. I agree with McCoy. You know? He never got a full proper chance to explore his Doctor. He got 3 seasons, and that was it. Okay, it was true with the same with Colin Baker. But there isn't a worse Doctor Who, more like a distinguished Doctor Who. And according to Powell, Colin Baker's Doctor Who wasn't really the most distinguished Doctor Who. You know, his show wasn't getting his stuff wasn't getting the ratings. Although, to be honest with you, season 22 actually did get some decent enough ratings. And okay, like I said, I'll admit, season 24, 25, 26 didn't necessarily get the ratings. But but his Doctor was still good. You know? Stop with all the McCoy hate. Move on. His era is done. I mean, he had a fantastic renewal, likewise with Colin Baker's Doctor, through the big Finish audios. Granted, I haven't heard any of them, but from what I'm told, they're really good. And of course, in the novels that were published during the wilderness years, you know, learn to love them. Learn to love them. And that does it for Whoology. Whoops. flipping computer. Anyway, that does it for Whoology this week. Next week, as promised, will be the Pyramids of Mars review. I actually have a full plan of what I want to do for this series, at least for the first 4 episodes. So this week was obviously What's with the McCoy Hate. Next week's the Pyramids of Mars review. The week after that, sort of a late response to Dub Zoo members' Is That in Ireland? Whoology episode, where I also look at the relationship between Doctor Who and Ireland. And then the week after that will be the 5 Doctors review for the 5th Doctor installment of the 11 Faces of Doctor Who review season. So from now on, Tuesday. So Whoology now on Tuesdays for the rest of the summer until when I'm back in school, and from then will be Sunday again. So until next Tuesday for the Pyramids of Mars review, see you later.